Okay, so just before we get fully into this video, we actually had another video go up late last night covering how EA Games managed to burn a lot of their developers through a pretty ill-fated initiative that kind of made sense but didn't really work out, leading to 2 games being cancelled at least, and partially the ruination of BioWare's rep. So yeah, that went up pretty late last night. You may have missed it, so that is up on the channel now. But with that covered, let's get into the main video for today. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another industry report. Today we are doing Fallout 76 catch-up. There's a lot to talk about, and then this is of course in addition to the video that we just did regarding how publishers are withholding information regarding their business models from consumers and how that really does erode the core of, well, the customer's ability to analyze their purchases and make an informed decision, which is a big problem. So let's get on to the topic at hand. We're talking about Fallout 76. Why? Well, quite a few things have happened with Bethesda's ill-fated title, and rather than doing multiple 10-minute and 1-second long videos, I thought I'd just cover them all in one video. So, while much of this is bad news, or at least is a bit funny, including actually Bethesda really crossing a line regarding pay to win, there is a bit of a glimmer of hope as Bethesda have begun to lay out their 2019 plans for the game, indicating that they are, at least for now, not going to abandon it. Still, a few of these stories are frankly beyond parody, so let's start off with something that is, you know what, just a little bit funny. So, a while back, it was reported that Fallout 76 was going to be bundled with used PS4 controllers for free. Yep, a game that launched as a full-price thing, very soon being sold with a used controller. Pretty insane, but something even funnier has happened. Fallout 76 is now being bundled with a PS4 add-on stick. Yeah, the little nibs that you clip onto the sticks of your PS4 controller to give a little bit extra control. They cost $5. And Fallout 76 is being bundled with them. I mean, at this stage, what are the people behind the till just going to like man their till like they're, you know, manning the wall of a castle and start just throwing copies of Fallout 76 at people when they walk in the door? They are almost giving it out for free. I mean, it really is just a bit absurd, but being a bit more serious, it does show how Bethesda's retail partners are struggling to shift copies of this game, and that really is a good indicator of how much the market values this title. On PC, it can only be purchased through the Bethesda store, meaning that they have full price control. But that's not the case for retailers, because retailers buy in their stock and then it's on them to shift that stock. And this indicates that they really have had trouble moving physical copies of this game, suggesting that the console version really is doing quite badly indeed. And that of course does make sense. Fallout 76 has indeed had, well, nothing but negative press since launch. Now, I suppose it's really just a bit out of the ordinary to see a game flop this hard so fast. Now, the only silver lining here is that Fallout 76 being extremely cheap to pick up could encourage people to try it out more once some of the updates launch, but that is a tenuous silver lining at best. One almost wonders if the only way to salvage this project is to do months of content updates and then either a massive baseline discount or just a free-to-play launch, which is actually something that was rumored earlier on in the year, but was actually quickly debunked. Okay, right, that's the fun thing. We've got the fun out of the way, and next we have something a lot less fun. We have something that really is quite bad, and it's a bit of a tie-in to the other video on the channel. For a brief period of time, earlier in this month, Bethesda added a pay-to-win mechanic to their cash shop. Now, bear in mind, this is a cash shop that is, frankly, a little bit silly. We have a simple jumpsuit for like $6. We've got a bundle of like a red shirt and slacks for $2.50. We've got some emotes for $6. They have a big sign that costs $14, as well as things like power armor skins that are really quite simple, being absurdly expensive for what they are. They then have constantly been adding new content to that store, even using some fairly nasty tactics like the fake discounts. And I say fake because, you know, they had a Christmas-themed pack that arrived and cost 2,000 atoms, apparently being a discount from the base price of 3,000, but it really does just feel like one of those things where the base price is inflated beyond its real value just to make it feel better as a sale. Basically, the store is very expensive, but for the most part it did not at all impact player power, making it something that I think for many people was permissible and could be ignored. Personally though, for me, well, in a progression-driven RPG, I do disagree with that. I think that visual character progression really is the core of many RPGs like this. You know, getting some new gear, hunting down some rare and cool gear, and you looking different. I think that's an extremely motivating thing. But yeah, once that stuff shifted onto the store, I think that really does gut a part of the game's core reward loop, and I think that really is the case for role-playing games more so than just about anything else. Anyhow though, for a brief period in February, Bethesda crossed a line. They had store items impact player power. And I mean, wow, like, this is just the point where my personal trap card gets activated. This existing in a multiplayer RPG is so damaging to the core of the game. Really, in principle, right? Even though this was really just an initial foray, it was them dipping their toes into the water, but at the end of the day, why dip your toes into the water if you don't intend to jump into the pool? So, Bethesda released a number of new outfits, and these outfits were themed around the Unstoppables, who are a group of comic book heroes in the Fallout universe. In previous games, collecting Unstoppables comics would give you some bonuses, and the same does also go for Fallout 76. Now, this most recent update added 5 outfits, one for each of the Untouchables, with one of them being unlockable through gameplay, and the other 4 being purchased on the store, costing 800 atoms each, so about $8 each, potentially less if you purchased your atoms in bulk. Now, this coincided with a store promotion that increased your health by 15 for each person in the party who had a unique Unstoppable outfit equipped. Now, while one of them is directly available through gameplay, remember that the event is for each unique Unstoppables outfit, so 4 people wearing the free one would not work. It would only give you 15 health, instead of, I believe, the full 60 of a full party in unique outfits. Now, this does mean that atoms would have to be spent to get the full combat effectiveness bonus that was available here, and while you do get some atoms through gameplay, it's not really that many, and it does dry up rather quickly after you've completed many of the initial challenges of the game. Now, while 60 health does not turn you into an unstoppable killing machine in Fallout 76, I think it's the principle that matters here. They offered player power for partaking in the store. For a game that pre-launch said there would be no pay-to-win elements, this is a 180. It's not massive, but it's a betrayal in principle. If they're willing to do this, what are they willing to do in the future? How far will they push the boat? And with this game sometimes going for free, being bundled with a $5 PS4 controller add-on, one does wonder, will they feel compelled to shift this over to being a full free-to-play model, complete with paid boosts and power things from the store? Ultimately, that is what this promotion was. It was a boost from the store. It does not help that as well lunchboxes, loot boxes, have been data mined. There's rumors that they could come into the game. Now that's not confirmed, and it could just be a scrapped plan from the past, but again, I actually just don't have that much faith in them sticking to their word based on how they betrayed a very core principle, them saying the game would not have any pay-to-win elements. I mean, hell, this is a multiplayer game that does have PvP, so things like this really are quite damaging to the core of the game. So overall, what I would say is, this is not full DEFCON 1 or anything like that, but it is a bit of an early warning alarm, and I think we should pay attention. Next up, though, we have a number of what I would call classic Fallout 76 things that have happened. So first, earlier on in February, I believe, a few players found themselves teleported into Vault 63. Now, not because they figured out how to get into the vault, no, because the game essentially glitched and that let them sort of end up there. And a lot of these players were posting worried that they would get banned from the game. Now, since then, of course, many people have purposefully glitched their way into Vault 63, but it once again serves as an example of how Bethesda's generally buggy game releases do not translate well over to a live service multiplayer title where actions actually do have consequences. This happening in Skyrim is fine, but in a game like Fallout 76, it is a lot more of a problem. Now, luckily for Bethesda, this vault did not contain infinite loot like the last one, but it is something that could be a part of a future content edition, perhaps tied to what we're about to talk about pretty soon in this video. So that's the first silly thing. But the second silly thing is the headline of a player putting 900 hours into the game only to be banned for having too much ammunition. Essentially, he was a very high-level player with a perk that decreased ammunition weight, and that allowed him to collect a lot of ammunition. He traded this ammunition to other players, and he used a second account to trade it between his characters. He thinks that him having a high-level character trading with a level 2 character caused people to report him, but in an email from Bethesda, it literally says he has too much ammunition and that this is a violation. They don't call out a specific action, such as saying that he was item duping or anything like that. It seems bizarrely arbitrary, and more importantly, it just continues to play into the narrative of Bethesda generally being incompetent at running a live service. I can't say I'd run a live service well. but other companies exist that do it a hell of a lot better than Bethesda do. So it really is just unfortunate to see constant issues like this, but talking just on the topic of live services, let's talk about their future plans. So March is going to see the addition of the survival PvP mode. Now this is going to unlock far more hardcore PvP gameplay, with you being able to shoot players on sight. That's actually not the case in the current game. In the current game, if a player shoots you, it doesn't really do anything, but if you shoot back, then it activates PvP, and that essentially ensures that PvP gameplay is always consensual, and it basically means that ganking's not really going to happen. But it also does eliminate a lot of the risk and fear that makes PvP gameplay so fun in a survival-themed game. Now, the addition of this mode could allow for more meaningful and exciting gameplay for the people who opt into it. More importantly, PvP like this does, it sort of does add more of a sandbox element to the game, and seemingly it adds it to a world that is really quite well designed. I know a lot of negative things have been said about Fallout 76, but I have consistently heard people say that it's actually one of the best Fallout maps. So to have really good PvP in one of those Fallout maps, if they're able to do it, I suppose that would be pretty cool, and while it may be niche, it might be quite enjoyable to that niche. So that's the first major content drop, but we actually do know a fair bit more about Fallout 76's future. Bethesda have announced that they will detail their 2019 content roadmap later on in February, and they've also talked about some of their planned content. So the first wave of PvE content is going to come as a part of the Wild Appalachia series of updates, and that's going to begin soon. So Wild Appalachia is going to be a series of weekly content updates that will last a number of months, and it's said to be the first of multiple series of updates throughout 2019. Now, the exact content is a mystery, but Bethesda have said that it will contain new quest events, new camp additions, new crafts, amongst other things, and it seems like there is the potential for this to be decent, but of course, time will tell, and with this game specifically, I really do think we have to wait and see, because Bethesda, after all, have managed to bungle just about everything they've tried to do so far. Overall, I mean, it's weird. Fallout 76, it's been fun to laugh at. Like, it has just turned out so badly for the company that it's been hilarious. Now, it could be that a lot of that is because the publisher just, wanted that game to come out for a certain release window, and the game was in no way ready. That would make a lot of sense, but I mean, hey, look at past Bethesda releases. A lot of them have had a lot of time, and they've still released with big problems. But still, it has been kind of fun to laugh at this game. Now, the thing is, a lot of people actually do enjoy it. Like, every time I, or anyone else really, makes a Fallout 76 video, there are loads of comments of people talking, hey, I'm actually enjoying this game. I know all of this stupid stuff exists, but I can log in and have some fun with my friends in a Fallout world, and really that's all I want from the game. That's actually fair enough. It seems like that's a pretty niche experience that not that many people are actually enjoying right now, but it seems like there are a core number of people who are enjoying that. Ultimately, while it is fun to laugh at this game, what is the ideal future? Well, the ideal future is that they stick with it, and they keep on doing these content updates. Stuff like Wild Appalachia, that they are good, that they add meaningful things to the game, that the game ends up being in a state where maybe it's not the best thing ever, but if you want a pseudo-MMO, pseudo-Rust-like experience in a Fallout world, it's actually pretty good. That absolutely would be ideal, especially if these quests actually have a bit of meat to them when they come out. So, ultimately, I do want this game to do well. I do want it to be a success story, as much as it was fun to laugh at No Man's Sky when it came out. A lot of us ended up praising the fact that, yes, the developers bunch of problems near the start, especially in their communications, but where they could have abandoned that game, they released free updates for years and seemingly plan to continue to do so. So ultimately, it would be ideal if Fallout 76 ends up being the game that so many people want it to be. I'm skeptical as to whether that will happen, but that is what my hope is. So there we go. That is essentially your update, a radio reset on what's going on with Fallout 76. When this plan comes out, when the roadmap comes out, I probably will make a video talking about it. Because really, that roadmap will be Bethesda's plan to save Fallout 76. And I think it will be quite noteworthy and certainly interesting to dive into. So, thank you very much for watching this video. Be sure to check out the other one that went up on this channel. And yeah, with that, thanks. I'll see you next time.